All right, thank you all so much for joining me this morning for another InvArch Weekly Community Call. We have a very exciting week ahead of us, a lot to talk to, and a lot to dish out in just a short amount of time. So I hope you guys will bear with me for this InvArch Community Call. Let's get right into it. So for those of you guys who know, I always like to start these off by saying something about my week, how my week went, etc. So basically, to summarize last weekend, right after the InvArch Weekly Community call, that same day I had a wedding to go to. So that was really cool. I've only been in a few weddings. I got to be a groomsman, so like one of the head people. Um, and yeah, I had too good of a time and regretted it the next morning, but that's okay. Um, and then on top of that, just as far as like InvArch goes, I'm sure everyone's probably aware here that very exciting week for us. We've officially announced the LBP date, when it starts, when it ends, and we're going to get into all of that as well. So I hope you guys are ready to strap in because this is going to be a very, very fun InvArch Weekly Community Call. All right. Really quickly, before we dive right on into the stuff, does anybody else want to say how their week has gone or just share something cool with the community that they did this week? Speak now or forever hold your peace, and I will get right into the nitty gritty. All right. It looks like everybody wants to get right into that information. I don't blame you. There's a lot of good stuff this week, guys. Um, so before I get right into the subjects, I would like to highlight our co-founder Gabe. For those of you guys who aren't aware, Gabe has been killing it, like 100%. Gabe's going to be speaking at Sub-Zero, the Polkadot Dev Conference in Lisbon. For those of you guys who didn't see that announcement, he will be speaking on a panel of like basically about NFTs and just sharing his thoughts regarding NFTs, how InvArch is improving them, how we have the most advanced NFT primitives in all of Web3. That's like we're pretty damn confident that it's all of Web3, but we can say for sure in .sama. Um, but apart from that, another major significant highlight worth mentioning about Gabe, for those of you guys who didn't see, the Polkadot Fellowship Manifesto from Gavin Wood recently came out. And what's crazy is Gabe has already been approved to join. So Gabe will be joining the Polkadot Fellowship. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with what that is, I'm not going to go dive into that rabbit hole, but I highly suggest you go to Gavin Wood's Twitter, check out what he was talking about with the Polkadot Manifesto, read through it. It's very interesting, very interesting. And it's also very significant. And that's why I wanted to highlight just the simple fact that our co-founder Gabe is already approved as a join, like he's going to be joining the fellowship. So, um, just one big round of applause for Gabe, really quickly. Thank you, thank you. With that being said,
Hey Casey, sorry to jump in. I just put the article in the message box. Hey everybody.
oh hey, bye, hey, perfect. All right, cool. Yes, if you guys weren't familiar, Richie just dropped that for us. Thank you, Richie. That's very convenient. But yes, Gabe is going to be joining the Polkadot Fellowship. So very excited to see what happens with that. I know Gabe is very excited. It's kind of like, in a sense, a dream come true from him. If you guys didn't know how Gabe originally started out, like he was working as like a substrate Rust developer and was working for Pokedex. Then he took on working for InvArch at the same time and eventually came to InvArch full time. And Gabe is just incredible. I mean, I think pretty much everyone here is familiar with him. He also helped build GM or Die. And he's like honestly the giga mind behind what we're building here, along with our actual founder Dakota. And especially when you get those two together, especially in real life, I've got to witness it just once, for several days though, and it was incredible. Just watching those two synergize, the way that they interact with each other, the way that I mean, it was awesome. You usually don't see the type of synergy with founders. Usually, there's like some egotistical stuff in the way, and I will say, just from a kind of a biased standpoint, but coming as much as an unbiased way as I can. When you put those two together in a room, even if they don't agree with something at first, they're gonna sit down and they're gonna hash it out until they understand each other's perspective, and then they agree with one way or the other. And there's no hard feelings at the end of the day about it. They've managed to do that in front of me in VR a countless amount of times, but in person, I mean, even, they were doing that stuff. So it was just really refreshing to see how much of a team mindset they have, because they really do feel like at the end of the day, apart from us as team members, they have to take care of us, but they also have this entire community that supports them now, as well as like ambassadors, VCs, and stuff of that nature. And they really do feel the support there, and they don't want to let any of us down. With that being said, just once again wanted to highlight Gabe. He's been doing amazing, and it's definitely worth mentioning, giving him praise. With that being said, going into the next subject, so GitArch. The GitArch private beta. So teams have been contacted to confirm the registration for the beta. I know that we had originally planned on announcing the teams. However, we want to make sure that all of the teams go ahead and are actually confirming that they have passed the registration. They want to go ahead and move forward. You guys will know the actual people behind the private beta eventually. But one of the things that is also mentioning is GitArch is going to be the first dApp that actually features the power of the InvArch network's multi-sig solutions. So pull requests, code reviews, code-based governance, and more. It can all transparently and easily be managed using GitArch. No third-party governance UI is needed. And as the common phrase keeps going, unstoppable code lives here. If you guys kind of want to see what a little bit of this looks like, there's more alpha as far as voting on proposals and governance goes. So here I can drop that for you guys in the chat, so you can kind of get a sneak peek at this image. It's really cool seeing the way that GitArch is coming together. And how rapidly it's been coming together as well, I will say, it's been incredible. But with that being said as well, it's definitely worth mentioning and highlighting that Polkadot also recently highlighted GitArch as well as the Daoist CDK in a recent tweet. So there is some real significance building up behind this. And then also, for those of you guys who didn't notice, it was pretty significant. We kind of had a little bit of a fanboy moment, honestly. But this week, while we were all working, little announced to us, Gavin Wood went back and liked some of GitArch's tweets. And he hadn't liked anything since August. So it was pretty significant, pretty cool to see Gavin Wood himself coming through and giving recognition. The main reason, I think, was because we directly were tagging him and saying that the Polkadot Fellowship could be literally launched on GitArch, totally decentralized, and be better that way. And they've basically acknowledged the fact that GitArch is going to be an extremely powerful tool, and they're excited that we're building it. So I wanted to go ahead and announce that to you guys, just because that is very, very cool. Very big fanboy moment for us, but totally worth noting. With that being said,
Can I just jump in there, Casey, 1 second?
Absolutely, Richie.
Yeah, just to connect the two. So you had just talked about the fellowship, and now about InvArch, and now about GitArch. They had also, there's a tweet, it was on the 27th of September, I'll put it right here, that the fellowship, that could be run on GitArch protocol. So
Yes.
it would be possible to run the whole Polkadot fellowship entirely on-chain. Yeah, multi-bodied governance, reputation tracking and tracks, tiered voting models also.
Yeah, so it would be entirely to do all of that on the dApp. And I do want to say GitArch, GitArch is going to be built on our protocols. So GitArch is a dApp. But what it will be able to do, I mean, it's going to be incredible. When we say unstoppable code is coming, it's genuinely unstoppable. No one can shut down your repository. No one can take it from you. No government can come in and be like, hey, we're going to arrest this individual because they made this repository and XYZ is utilizing it for a thing that I don't like. So because you developed it, you're going to prison. I think I think we can all agree stuff like that's pretty insane. And the fact that actually happened with Tornado Cash, once again, as the primary example, is really, it couldn't have been better timing. And I know that's kind of weird to say, But in a sense, we literally had just started building GitArch when this happened. So it was kind of like how ironic that we start building the, decentralized alternative to GitHub when GitHub kind of drops the veil between big government and big brother and chooses to side with them. Um, it was just like, perfect timing is all I can say about that. So, but with that being said, going on into the next subject, just being InvArch itself. If you guys didn't notice, Polkadot Insider, I don't know if you guys follow them on Twitter or not, they ranked us last month as the fifth most engaged project on Polkadot in the last 30 days. Very significant to worth mentioning. Even though it's a bear market, our developers, I can say, truly are extremely passionate about what they're building. They don't care about the market at all. As long as they can build, they're happy, they're satisfied, and they love building cool stuff. What we're building is beyond revolutionary. I think everyone who's been on the InvArch wagon for a while is aware of that. That's why you're still here. Um, being the fifth most ranked project in the past 30 days building it's an honor. Because you have some seriously big names up there as well. I don't know if I have the tweet just saved somewhere. I don't. I should have saved that tweet so I could show you guys. But I'm not gonna go back into it now. Um, Basically, it's just worth mentioning because if you guys aren't familiar, there's a lot of individuals who say that, especially in like Polkadot and stuff, when the bear market's on, that sometimes like projects just don't build because there's not like incentivization. However, there are a handful of Summer projects that do not hold that as true, and I would be very glad to say that InvArch is one of them. Along with, I'm sure a couple of you guys know a handful of others, ones that I'm talking about as well. Like A Star, for example, Fala, just going off the top of my head there, Oak Network. I mean, there's some really good networks that are just they're shipping regardless of the way things are going. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight for you guys, in case you guys missed it, was the Kusumerian. The Kusumerian actually did kind of two segments on InvArch related stuff this week. The first one just focusing solely on InvArch. I'll drop that for you guys right there. Just a little way for you guys to check that out if you guys missed it. They do a deep dive into InvArch and the three key pieces of the tech launching intellectual property into the Web3 area. I said area, it's era, my bad. Um, but if you guys haven't got to check that out, I highly recommend it. It's pretty cool. They do a very technical deep dive, explaining everything very much. Um, and it's definitely worth noting, once again, that the Kusumerian wanted to do a deep dive into InvArch. Last month was just incredible for us, to put it lightly. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got some attention here. Before I go into Tinkernet, because I know a lot of people are wanting me to get into that, I want to highlight UtilDAO first. So now, I will say last week I told you guys that we were the 8th top collection on Remark of all time. We have surpassed that. So now we are actually the 7th top collection on Remark of all time. Definitely worth mentioning as well because all of this was done during the bear market when people, were saying like NFTs are dead, things of that nature. It's like, I don't know where you've been at, but we've been building here, and I can tell you NFTs are not dead. They're just getting started. Wednesday this past week as well.
Not the NFTs are dead. It's the Bored Ape Club that are dead.
Yeah. Well, some of them, yeah, you're not wrong. There's a couple NFT projects that, I mean, are not doing so well right now. Um, but as well, Wednesday this past week, if you guys were setting at your laptops, you might have noticed, you might have been aware. If not, I'm almost certain you missed it. The floor nearly doubled for Util tickets in hours. Not going to name any names, but there was a couple individuals who kind of FOMO'd in at the last second as well. And also some people who realized some more utility behind them and wanted to get some more tickets. So literally within like an hour and a half, the floor price went from like 4.9 to nearly 10 KSM for just a standard UDL ticket. Um, for those of you guys who weren't aware, these tickets, when they were originally listed by UDL DAO directly, were listed only for 1 KSM. So during the bear market, that's how much the floor has raised. So it is significant to highlight that. The other thing that I would like to mention as well, for those of you guys who don't know, I see some fellow UDLs in the audience listening, so I'm sure you guys are aware. There's only ever going to be 1,001 UDLs in existence. So as far as the functionality, the utility behind these, I do genuinely think a lot of it is unrealized at this point. One of the things that I would say is like, there's a very significant collection like Canarias. Canarias right now, when they sell, they can go like right now. I think the floor is like 15 KSM for just a standard one, and that's definitely crazy. I mean, just to see, because that's been like one of the top collections of all time. I think it is still the top collection of all time. And so to see how much we have explosively grown in just literally like a month and a half, essentially, compared to them, is shocking to us. And that, just for example, there's more Canarias available than there is UDLs. So the scarcity here is actually greater. And I will say we're going to have incredible utility with these NFTs. As for those of you guys, especially the fellow UDLs here, I'm sure you guys have been keeping up with the utility. Like we keep dropping more and more alpha on what the utility is behind the UDLs. Like for example, rainbow tickets, how they can provide special utility. There's all kinds of things going on inside UDL DAO, and I would love to see more individuals get in before it gets too expensive or too hard to find a UDL for sale or a UDL ticket. I will say too, before the bonfire event occurs, I do recommend, if you can, if you're interested in the tech, if you're interested in the DAO and what we're building, and you want to be involved, I encourage you to get a ticket while you still can, because after the bonfire event, it'll be much, much more difficult to get into the DAO apart from just simply buying a UDL itself, not a UDL ticket. So you're going to have greater scarcity in the collection as well. With that being said, I hope to see more of you guys join the DAO. And there also is a significant member to highlight who joined the DAO this past week, and that is Bill Laboon himself. I'm sure Bill needs no introduction, but once again, it's just really cool to highlight that significant individuals, even in the Kusama ecosystem, are taking notice of what we're building and wanting to become DAO members. And lastly, regarding UDL DAO, before I get into Tinkernet and the LBP and all that sweetness, I want to read to you guys, for those of you guys who might not be able to read or read English well, this most recent UDL DAO thread. It's very, very cool. So I will just dive right on into it. UDL DAO is more than just a way of emerging holders around the innovative technology realized by InvArch Network and Tinker Network, or the InvArch Canary Network. UDLs will be a part of a powerful system, a decentralized autonomous organization. Let's explore what that means with a thread. I will also drop the link to the thread for those of you guys who want to read along. There are some visualizers in here if you guys want to check those out with me as we go. You feel more than welcome to. In this thread, we'll cover 1, what is a DAO? 2, the structure of UDL DAO. 3, the utility of UDLs, NFTs, and 4, rainbow UDLs accessories. So, number 1, a DAO is an organization of pods that act autonomously over themselves as decentralized bodies. The purpose of a DAO is typically focused on a specified goal, with pods focused on their niche skills or functions to achieve that goal. There are many different DAOs currently in existence. Some are focused on longevity research, some are focused on arbitration, some are focused on governance spending. UDL DAO is focused on project incubation and support services. To be more specific, UDL DAO is focused on supporting emerging and early seed projects within the Kusama ecosystem, building using GitArch. UDL DAO will provide a variety of services provided by the respective autonomous bodies. These services will include funding opportunities, marketing assistance, development support, and design services. In exchange for these services, shares of ownership will be provided to the DAO, which will be distributed amongst its members. Or as we like to say, teamwork makes the dream work. Number 2, Udl DAO is built using a variety of technologies within the Polkadot plus Kusama network ecosystem, .sama, Remark app, Follow network, and InvArch network. These projects help comprise the Daoist CDK. If you guys don't know what the Daoist CDK is, I will drop a link to a thread that goes more in depth about what that is. Not going to highlight it on this because it's another bigger thread. Excuse me. Using the Daoist CDK, Udl DAO will launch a fully decentralized fat client on-chain, which will at first use Discord as the user interface that members use to participate in the DAO. For those of you guys who are already Udl DAO members, you know this is how things have been going. Thanks to InvArch and Fala, ownership over the server will be decentralized. Being built using InvArch allows Udl DAO to easily construct a multi-layer and multi-bodied DAO by building one of its most novel NFT primitives. Individual bodies can exist within one unified body as an operating organization. When it comes to the actual Discord interface, Udl NFTs will ultimately provide server access, but also determine which channels in the server a Udl can actually enter. The Udl's NFT collection serves 3 primary purposes. Number 1, it showcases InvArch technology. Number 2, it showcases DAO governance utility. And number 3, it showcases NFT composability. We've discussed numbers 1 and 2, so now let's explore number 3 a bit deeper. The underlying resource composability and rendering that powers Udl NFTs is NFT 2.0 technology made possible thanks to Remark. While Udls have an underlying base avatar, they consist of various traits and accessories, which are all equipable NFT resources. The base avatar of a Udl consists of several different attributes that are bound to it through its NFT metadata. These include voting power, access level, base reputation, reputation limit, and your group. Udl NFT bases can be bought as the actual body, soul, and or brain of a DAO member, whereas the equipable NFTs that own are a way to personalize a member's NFT. In the future, Udls will even have theme songs that travel with them. Number 4. While this allows members to build their own Udls to whatever degree they're able to own different resources and accessories, some items are more significant than others. Rainbow Rare Udl NFTs bring special powers beyond simple scarcity. I still really regret not getting one. Rainbow Rare items provide a more lucrative and enhanced experience for Udl DAO members. You have heightened access, boosted voting power, increased reputation, expanded limitations, and unlocking groups. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Somebody joined with their mic on and it sounded like their fan was running in the background. Sorry about that, everybody. Let me get back to what I was doing. Okay. So, if you guys don't also know, there's like some of the sneak peek at some of those rainbow items. Really, really cool. Rainbow Rare items, by providing an edge, ultimately increase a Udl's ability to earn U. Groups and access levels equal various opportunities to earn reputation via participation. Reputation is based on a soul-bound fungible token system. More rep means more U. Maybe even more notably, Rainbow Rare items are the only way to augment a member's experience within the DAO. Rainbow Rare items should be considered extremely valuable to the DAO. They have the ability to make ordinary members more powerful than the DAO creators. Out of all 25,068 individual Udl trait and accessory NFTs minted, only 168 of these will be Rainbow Rare. This is less than 1% of the entirety of the entire collection. It is also possible for Udls to stack Rainbow Rare perks by equipping multiple Rainbow Rare NFTs at once. What's next? As the week 1st of October arrives and the autumn season rolls in, Udls are preparing for a bonfire. The date and full details of the bonfire will be announced this Friday. Congratulations to all will be who are part of this journey. So you guys can expect that announcement today when the actual bonfire event will occur. Once again, this is one of the reasons why I said very worth highlighting it now. And if you don't have one, you want to be a part of this, you want to get in on some of the action, I highly encourage you to get one as soon as you can. I promise you, you won't regret it. The Udall DAO is very, very fun and exciting. It's a very just fun place to hang out as individuals so far. But on top of that, the functionality is coming and the utility is going to get pretty crazy. As far as when the actual DAO CDK is done and launches, and we're using that as a DAO, that will be the first, in my opinion, it'll be like the first actual true DAO that exists. So I'm excited to be a part of it. I hope you guys will come be a part of it too. All right, guys. With that being said, I know everyone wants to get into the LBP. So let's kind of get into it. Tinkernet, right? LBP date has been announced. So October 12th through October 15th. The pair, KSM and Tinker. For those of you guys who missed it, there was an official Cointelegraph article released highlighting this as well because it is historical. For those of you guys who don't know, this is the first LBP in the Kusama ecosystem. The first Polkadot native liquidity bootstrapping pool event has arrived. The InvArch network is partnering with HydraDX to host the very first liquidity bootstrapping pool event in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. LBP events are the ideal solution for projects like the InvArch Tinkernet that want to get tokens into the hands of their broad user base and community without the limitations of a rapidly increasing price curve that works against them. In the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems, the HydraDX team has made LBP one of the core functions of its Basilisk parachain. Thanks to its tech, any project that wants to determine the value of its token can go through this process to establish a fair and reasonable price. The InvArch network team is excited to announce that they are the very first project to hold an LBP in the Kusama ecosystem will be the Tinkernet parachain, and Basilisk will be the very first project to provide the infrastructure and host an LBP campaign. Liquidity bootstrapping pool details. After the smashing success of the Tinkernet crowdloan, the growing excitement around Udall DAO, the Daoist CDK, the GitArch dApp, and the imminent utility of the Tinkernet, it is clear that the time to make the Tinker token a freely available asset is now. So, as I just told you, the LBP launch date is October 12th, but it will start at 4 p.m. UTC time. The LBP ending date, October 15th, the exact same time, 4 p.m. UTC. Further details, including an LBP participation guide, will be made available this Monday and posted to the project's Twitter profiles, which can be found at the end of this announcement. Both teams are ready to launch this historic event and are looking forward to a wide and fair token distribution that ensures the availability of Tinker for all Web3 pioneers. Before I finish reading this article, if you guys want to come back or maybe share it with a friend after the fact, I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the actual little chat that we have here on the side. So InvArch and Tinkernet, for those of you guys who don't know, I feel like most of you do, but for those of you guys who might be a new community member or joining us because you've heard of the LBP, InvArch is a leading-edge Layer 1 blockchain built to support and empower the future creator economy by providing a new foundation through its powerful, non-fungible token primitives and decentralized autonomous organization solutions, NFTs and DAOs for short. The InvArch network features the most advanced NFT primitives and DAO solutions produced in the Polkadot ecosystem and is a major project pushing the limits of Web3 further than they've ever been possible in other ecosystems. InvArch is designed not just to allow new products of development to take flight, but also to change how individuals and teams can develop together. InvArch is built on the Substrate blockchain framework and designed to launch on the Polkadot ecosystem as a parachain. The Tinkernet parachain is the canary network of the InvArch network and is designed as an IP asset and accelerated development staging grounds for the Kusama ecosystem. Tinkernet serves a trio of testing purposes: for the developers who maintain the network, for the developers who build on top of the network, and for the end users of dApps and applications in the ecosystem. Now, HydraDX and Basilisk. HydraDX is a cross-chain liquidity protocol built on Substrate. Its mission is to enable frictionless liquidity for all crypto assets by building the first of its kind multi-asset liquidity pool, the HydraDX Omni Pool, With Omnipool, HydraDex breaks the traditional conception according to which assets are traded in pairs using isolated pools. Basilisk is not a mere canary network of HydraDex. It is an independent chain that has the mission to enable frictionless liquidity bootstrapping for new crypto assets. Basilisk is a natural stepping stone on the journey toward building the liquidity infrastructure of the future. Together, Basilisk and HydraDex create a synergy that caters to the varying needs of crypto assets throughout their entire life cycle. Bootstrap liquidity in the early stages using Basilisk, then move over to the HydraDex Omnipool to unlock unprecedented liquidity in an ocean of assets. And that's it for the Cointelegraph article. Really cool to see Cointelegraph also highlighting the LBP and how it's historic for our ecosystem. For those of you guys who don't know as well, there was actually a financial analysis as well written up by a very prominent member in .sama. For those of you guys who don't know him, he's OX Crane on Twitter. He's done financial analysis of projects before, and after the fact, the project did really well. So I would just like to highlight his financial analysis as well during this weekly community call, and just go ahead and do a quick read through of it for you guys. It's pretty short and to the point. So, his introduction is, in the next week, Tinkernet is having its token launch via liquidity bootstrapping pool hosted on Basilisk. The token launch is highly anticipated after the community-focused crowd loan InvArch's Tinkernet had. Since finishing the crowd loan, InvArch's Tinkernet is shaping up to be the forefront of innovation in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. This momentum is not surprising when you look at who the leaders of InvArch are. Dakota Barnett and Gabriel Faco de Eraruda seem to be relentlessly bringing progress and cutting-edge technology to the ecosphere, while being active members of the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. While parachains launch on centralized or decentralized exchanges in the past bull market have oftentimes been a major bot-ridden disappointment, Tinkernet has its token launch in a much different circumstance. The fair price discovery a LBP brings with it in a bear market can shape up to be a good way to find reasonable valuation for a token. The following price action will then be shaped by how the protocol is leveraging its technology. A look into the protocol. Tinkernet is InvArch's canary network in the original meaning of what Kusama is to Polkadot. A fast-paced, sometimes chaotic people's version of its VC-oriented chain, Tinkernet aims for a first-to-market approach. Tinkernet's technology portfolio is tightly packed with innovations like the DAOist CDK, which will revolutionize the control of DAOs and elevate it to its original meaning, the INV4 Git, which is a censor-free Web3 developer destination for Git file management and version control, the XCA Kit, or the XCA protocol, which will be the forefront of authenticating assets cross-chain, the INV4 protocol, which features IP sets, IP files, IP licenses, and IP tokens, which is a revolutionary new way to think about intellectual property and startup funding in a trustless Web3 way, and the INV4 NFT primitives, which will serve as a framework Layer 2 applications can build onto. What is the SNEC LBP on Basilisk? SNEC LBP allows crypto projects to launch AMM pools for bootstrapping liquidity, which are limited in time, typically 3 to 5 days. A defining feature of LBPs is the mechanism of time-dependent weights, which will continuously exert a downward pressure on the price. If no orders are placed, the price will fall with every block. Buy orders push the price back up in accordance with the size of the order. So for those of you guys who don't know, this is very significant because as the article just stated, past events like this have been bot-written, unfortunately disastrous sometimes. It's not very fun to watch that happen. So if that's the case, if that's been something that you guys have experienced in the past, I apologize because it sucks, but that shouldn't be the shape this time. The shifting weights mechanism of the SNEC LBP has several important implications. Firstly, it offers a capital-efficient way for projects to bootstrap liquidity. There is no need to provide 50-50 liquidity to kickstart an LBP, which is the case for XYK. The weights mechanisms allows projects to offer as little as 1% of the asset used to bootstrap liquidity. Furthermore, our fee repay mechanism, a unique Basilisk feature, helps the project quickly repay the costs associated with organizing an LBP by placing an additional fee on top of early trades. Running an LBP is not only capital efficient, but also a fair way to navigate price discovery, distribute tokens, and grow your community. Since buy orders push the price up, front running by bots, which snipe large amounts of the available supply, is no longer viable. Actors willing to acquire bigger amounts of tokens would need to split their orders over time to achieve a reasonable price. This interaction between programmatic sell pressure and buy orders makes SNEC LBP an excellent tool for achieving fair price discovery and a wider distribution of tokens across the community. So for once again, like for those of you guys who don't know, that's why we're so excited about this, is because it really is different in the sense that since this is the first LBP, it really is kind of focused on the community, and it's meant to empower you guys, not work against you, as we've said. Sorry guys, I gotta get a drink. Excuse me, my throat got really dry. Anyways, financial analysis. As all markets did a downturn in the last months, the crypto market seems to have stabilized a little bit in the last few weeks. Additionally, there are hints of decoupling from traditional markets, which could give relief to a lot of crypto investors. The last cycles showed that investing into projects which show strong signs of building in the bear market can pay out greatly when the bull market arrives. InvArch, and in that regard Tinkernet, is one of these bear market winners, launching innovative and successful projects like UtilDAO, which has an incredible bear market volume of over 2,200 KSM on Singular, and it's rising pretty regularly. But technology and progress are not everything one should look into for a project. Tokenomics and the tokens use case can play a vital role in the evaluation of the question to ape or not to ape. The tokenomics of Tinker consist of the following categories. I will read them out loud for you because I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Also, let me just drop the actual link to this article as well. For those of you guys who use Subsocial, make sure to show Crane some love for this article. It's freaking awesome. We were very grateful to get this. So you have 8% for InvArch Network, 5% for private funding, 15% for crowd loan rewards, 10% for crowd loan reserves, 10% for an inducement bonus, 10% for OSIF and SEPA staking, 10% for liquidity support, 10%, for the Tinkernet treasury, 2% for a community sale, 5% for ambassador incentives, and 5% for XCA support integration. Comparing the token allocations to other parachains gives great results for the Tinkernet protocol. As shown in the table below, it scores a fantastic 97.86 on the opportunity scale, which it achieves through the big allocation to the treasury and crowd loan. With a score of 45.79 on the risk rating, Tinkernet scores one of the lowest risk ratings of all projects. As you can see, Tinkernet sits nicely in the lower right corner, which equals a low risk rating while having a high opportunity rating. It is close to crowd favorites like Moonriver and Basilisk, but this comes with no surprise when looking at the tokenomics. Tinkernet allocates 55% of its tokens to subcategories that fall under the main category of treasury. These tokens will get used to help solidify the ambitious goals of the project through different channels. My two personal favorite categories, this is Crane's article, are OSIF SEPA staking at 10% of all tokens, which utilizes the revolutionizing new mechanism of IP staking and farming Tinkernet will introduce, and VCs with a 5% allocation. This is just a placeholder though, and no VCs are in Tinkernet. You read that right. No VCs are to be found in the Tinkernet tokenomics. If the 5% allocation will not get sold to VCs, it will get added to the treasury, further boosting the tokenomics. Besides having favorable tokenomics, the token must have solid use cases to create pull factors for new users to enter the protocol. The Tinker token has multiple use cases. The first use case of the Tinker token is for the payment of transaction fees. Tinker will create via hosting other projects with their NFT primitive infrastructure as an L1. As Ethereum is the enabling L1 chain for a multitude of different L2 chains, Tinkernet will provide their toolkit primitives and infrastructure to pave the way for easy L2 adoption onto their framework. This could bring substantial price appreciation and use of Tinker to support and ensure the smooth progress of hosted L2s in the medium to long term. The other core pillar of Tinker is the use in IP staking, IP farming, and IP donations. This is where it gets really interesting. These new mechanisms add a whole new layer to the well-known process of yield farming. Investors supporting and earning from their favorite IP will be a huge TVL draw for the Tinkernet protocol. I want to emphasize this once more. This combination of philanthropy and getting yield on investments is the perfect mix for investors to pull their liquidity from elsewhere and enter an IP staking deal. Instead of doing bland yield farming in a liquidity pool with the risk of impermanent loss, investors can support their favorite project/idea, getting them their needed financing while earning real yield with it. This industry disrupting technology will be an adequate opponent to traditional staking options on the market. Later on, IP farming will get introduced as well. With IP farming, investors can earn IP tokens from the projects they stake their tokens for and who receive funding in exchange for that. This mechanism introduces a high-risk, very high-reward opportunity for more risk-tolerant people. Additionally to Layer 2 fees will also be needed to use XCA to authenticate assets cross-chain. Tinker tokens will be needed to participate in the governance process as well. The last use case is the use of Tinker as a currency for DAO treasuries who use the DAO CDK. When adoption of the DAO CDK becomes widespread as the new gold standard for DAOs to elevate them from the Discord servers to the proper DAOs they were always meant to be, this will become a big pull factor for the new liquidity entering the protocol. Other use cases, such as collateral for stablecoins or payment tokens for storage options, could possibly be added in the future as well. The LBP will be a good opportunity to get an early allocation of Tinker in your wallets. These tokens can immediately be put to use with the IP staking Tinkernet has planned. Investors can expect a very high 3-digit APR in the first weeks until the APR normalizes to sustainable levels when tokens unlock and the general widespread distribution create a large pool of available tokens. At this point, IP staking will still play an important role in the Tinkernet ecosystem, but fees stemming from general adoption and L2s built on Tinkernet's infrastructure will be a second pillar on which users can get yield from. Buying into a project during the bear market is shaping up to be a different experience compared to the dump fest most parachain token launches were during the bull market. Tokens launched in a bear market will more likely undergo fair price discovery. Investors have the chance to enter the protocol at a relatively low evaluation and stick with it through its adoption and grow to the broader market without the sell pressure over an inflated bull market that comes with bull markets. This endurance can be heavily rewarded when the new bull market arrives. The ambition the InvArch team shows with their industry-interrupting new technologies should not be underestimated. With the introduction of UtilDAO, InvArch showed that it is able to produce a great amount of hype for their products in a very brief time, during a bear market. Summarization: Tinkernet and its main protocol, InvArch, have been hot contenders for crowd and developers' favorites in the last few months. Even Polkadot heavyweights like Gavin Wood himself and co-founder Rob Habermeyer have taken notice of the protocol founder duo, Dakota and Gabe. The duo is extremely active in the ecosystem and keep delivering their technologies on a very tight schedule. Gabriel, who just recently got voted into the Polkadot Fellowship, even contributed a substantial part on realizing the Game or Die chain and their first Kikra proposal. Tinkernet seems to follow this approach to reward participants in their chain generously to turn mercenaries into evangelists. In the case of Moonriver, this strategy turned out to be a heavy success story, which created entire echo chambers of mover and evangelists. We will see if this approach will work out for the long term for Tinkernet. From a technical and a financial perspective, there are basically only good things to say about Tinkernet. Disrupting and cutting-edge technology combined with very promising tokenomics and an active community engaging founder team is one of the most favorable combinations one could hope for in a project to invest into in the bear market. This opportunity could shape up to be a very golden ticket in the next bull. Well, that is the end of his financial analysis. Thank you all for going through that with me the entire way. Really wanted to get that out there for those of you guys who are unable to speak any English or read any English. It's very, very significant article, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it with everybody. So, okay, to answer Julius's question, I saw a post in one of the communities that supposedly crowdloan participants will be able to add Tinker liquidity to the pool. Is that correct? So you're not going to be able to like swap your Tinker for KSM, if that's what you're getting at. You're going to be giving us KSM, and you're going to be getting back Tinker. Somebody asked that. Somebody actually did think that they would be able to, like, if you had Tinker, you'd be able to swap that for KSM. That is not going to be able to happen. Just to clarify that. But with that being said, guys, that's pretty much everything. Very big update. We have a very big week ahead of us. The LBP is on the horizon. It starts Wednesday. Um, I'm looking forward to this very, very exciting, and I'll be a little bit honest, like, stressful week. It's going to be historic. It's going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be crazy, and we're ready to tinker. With that being said, guys, I really appreciate all of you guys sticking out with me. It's almost been an hour now. So thank you all so much for coming out early, starting your weekend right with me. I appreciate all of you guys so much. I'm looking forward to this the LBP event. The crowd loan's already over. The LBP event and getting it kicked off, finished out strong, and just an exciting time ahead of us after the fact. Things have been going incredibly well, and I don't think the gas is coming off the pedal anytime soon, guys. So with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you all next time.
Just before you go, Casey, could I ask one question, please?
Yep.
The bonfire event.
Yep.
Could you please just tell us how will that play out? Like exactly what is it? I know you can't tell us the date, but just could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So the bonfire event is actually going to be where everyone who has UDL tickets right now, the standard bronze ones who don't have their official UDLs, the bonfire event will take place where everyone who has those tickets will all get together. We'll have this little party, but everyone is going to burn their tickets. That's why we've been telling everybody, do not burn your tickets yet. Unless you are a semi-custom or you had a fully custom UDL ticket, you are not to burn them because we are having the bonfire event for that special occasion. And that's really all I want to say. I can just say you guys will be looking forward to that event. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. We apologize that it didn't happen
held
super.
On a Twitter Space? Will it be on Discord?
Have you
finalized that yet?
I'm anticipating it will be held actually in the Discord. However, if I am wrong, I'm sure I will keep you guys updated on that. Reason being, I'm assuming on the Discord is because you will want to be a UDL ticket holder to be able to participate in the actual bonfire event. So if you're not a UDL ticket holder, it might not make sense for you to just be like listening in on the event. But it's going to be really, really cool. So my assumption is for that right now, it will be Discord in the actual DAO itself. However, if I'm wrong, I will let you guys know, and we'll see you guys on the Twitter space for that. But thank you.
It really clears it up. Thank you, Casey.
Absolutely, no problem. With that being said, guys, thank you all once again. This has been so much fun. I'm looking forward to a historic and exciting week. And thank you all once again, just hanging out with me this morning. So see you all next time. I can't wait to see you guys for next week's community call during the LBP when it's going on. It's going to be exciting. All right, guys. Catch you next week.